So hello all, my name is Devaki Nandana and I'll be acting as the moderator for today's session, so where we will be knowing about various fields and how to explore them. And today in the panel we are having Harsh Maheshwari who will give us the overview of machine learning field, Ishan Ranga who will give us the overview on software development engineer role, and Tanay Raghavendra who will detail us about FMCG roles, Vikrant Gupta about finance roles, and Ms. Tiyasha Mitra about consulting roles. So, firstly, I welcome you all for the session, the panelists, and also the attendees. And yeah, let's start with the session. So, the motto of organizing this session is to give you an overview of these fields. Now, as the CDC season is on, most of you must be confused about what are these various fields: machine learning, STE, FMCG, finance, consulting. So, multiple roles coming in. So, before this, you might be heard about only like coding, finance, or one or two fields in deep. So, but today we are arranging this session so that you can know how to start and how to build your profile in these fields and how to reach positions. Like Harsh Maheshwari is now at Amazon, Ishan is at Google, Tanay, who interned at ITC, Vikrant, who's at Bernstein, and Tiyasha, who's at BCG and McKinsey and Company. So this session is solely for you guys who want to start and who want to reach the positions like our panelists. So let's start with the session. So like any of your friends, if they're willing to attend, and if they're not here, you can call your friends and you can ask them to join. Firstly, like we'll start with the machine learning and data science field. So I invite our panelist Harsh to give the brief about machine learning and data science field. So Harsh, firstly, like would you like to your brief introduction about yourself?
Hello, am I audible? Just wanted to check it first.
Yeah, yes, Harsh, you are audible.
Okay, so hello everyone. Thanks a lot for attending today's session. So, a quick introduction about myself. So, my name is Harsh. I was a dual degree student at IIT Kharagpur. Recently passed out in 2021, and I was in electrical department, and currently I'm working at Amazon as an applied scientist. So, like about the machine learning and data science field, I will be very brief here. If I say technically what is this field, then usually company use machine learning and data science to analyze and extract insights from the data so that they can improve their business or focus on the parts where they are not much operational or they can increase their benefits. And secondly, for automating things which in general require human involvement. So yeah, and like we will go in more detail, which is more relevant in the further field. So I'll stop here only.
Yeah. Thanks, Harsh, for your introduction and also a brief introduction about the field. So now, like, let's move on to the brief introduction about. Yeah, next, Tiyasha, would you like to give your introduction?
Sure. So, hi everyone, my name is Tiyasha and I just graduated from Chemical Engineering Department and I'll be joining McKinsey and Company in August. And yeah, I'd like to answer your questions, whatever questions you have for the consulting profile.
Yeah. So firstly, like we'll have the introduction of the panelists. Like moving ahead to the introduction of Ishan. So would you like to introduce yourself, Ishan?
Hello, am I audible?
Yes, Ishan, you're audible.
Okay, thank you. So I'm Ishan and I graduated from the dual degree department in computer science and engineering. I interned in Google only in the software development field and later grabbed the PPO offer. And now I have joined the full-time role at Google this summer. Thank you.
Thanks for the introduction, Ishan. So Tanay, like, will you give your introduction now?
Yeah, sure. I hope I'm audible.
Yes,
So,
Tanay.
hi everybody. I'm Tanay. I'm a final year student in the electronics department, and I'm here to talk about the FMCG industry, which is just goods that can be sold quickly at a low cost. And I'm really looking forward to answering your questions.
Thanks a lot for the introduction, Tanay. And Vikrant, so your introduction, please.
Yeah, sure. Am I audible?
Yes, Vikrant.
Yeah, hi everyone. I am Vikrant Gupta. I'm a final year student from Mathematics and Computing. I have been interning with Alliance Bernstein, which is a US-based investment management firm for the past 5 months. I've been working with their equity sales division in India, and I've received a placement offer from them to join them full time in 2022. And looking forward to your questions here and for giving you some insights about how you can break into finance and a lot more. Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks a lot, panelists, for your introductions. So now we'll start with the machine learning and data science profile. So Harsh, so firstly, we want to know about the brief introduction of the field, which you have already given. So I'll move to the next one. So yeah, how can a student start to explore the field of machine learning and data science?
Okay, so yeah, so this is quite a unique question, I would say. So basically, you must have a lot of friends and colleagues of yours who are exploring that field as of now. So I would say that KSGP has its own unique ways of teaching you machine learning if you are interested. So, if you really want to start learning machine learning, then you should definitely start with a course which introduces you with the basic concepts and terminologies which are frequently used in the machine learning. So, I would say like a very famous one, which everyone of you might be aware of, is like doing the Andrew NG course. I mean, so that is the most popular one, like even in the campus also. And then after you have done one course and have got familiar with the machine learning things, you should start working by taking up some projects, either that be on Kaggle or some, hobby projects which you can do on your own laptop, because machine learning have one restriction of being compute intensive. So that is one restriction for you. And once you get an hands-on experience, which is very important, then you should start working with your friends and colleagues and peers, so that they like you could learn from them, because like having an interaction with others and like that way you could learn a lot of things much faster as you will learn it this way. And definitely I would say that KGP provides you an atmosphere of a lot of people doing machine learning and data science. So like if you have a good group of friends which are working in this field, then definitely your growth, which will be here in this field, will be very exponential. So like if I briefly point it out, then first do some basic course, then second work with your friends and be in constant touch with your friends who are also interested in this field, and make it an hobby or make it an habit to have active discussion with your friends. Yeah, that's more or less.
Yeah, thanks a lot for the answer, Harsh. Moving ahead to the next question. So what are various like on-campus and off-campus opportunities available in the field of machine learning and data science?
Okay, so uh, yeah, so like there are a lot of opportunities available for the data science as of now, because like this field is really booming a lot. And like most of you must have heard this thing also. So if you want to learn on campus, then I would say that take a project under a professor. Just ensure that the professor is really willing to work on a project with you, and it's not just for the name. And at the same time, you also have the motivation and time to do the project seriously. Because like it happens a lot that people usually take up projects, multiple projects, and then they are not able to do any of that. So just make sure that you have the time and the motivation to do the project seriously. Second, participate in the competition with your friends, because this provides you an opportunity to learn from your friends as well as you have a motivation here to learn things very fastly, because I mean you have a deadline, a strict deadline, so you need to learn very fastly. So yeah, that is one thing. And now if I say off campus, like keeping in mind for second years and third years, try to intern in an infant stage startup, where the founders or the mentors have very good experience in the field of machine learning. Like, why am I saying to do internship in an infant stage startup is basically their motivation is to, implement things very fastly. So there you would be able to cover a lot of breadth of concepts which are used in the machine learning. So that's why I think doing an internship at a startup is a really great thing. And for third and fourth years, try to get an FT, because the learning curve by working in some professor's lab who is making you come abroad and paying you is huge. I mean, definitely, like, he's paying you, he's doing all the procedures for you to make you come abroad. So definitely, I mean, he has an intention of, making that work and putting that extra effort which is required so that his investment is profitable there. So like an FT gives you a great opportunity to learn about a lot of different things and a lot of different fields. And definitely, like, the researchers and the scholars who work there, like, they are the person whom you can stay in contact with later also, and learn from them and collaborate with them and do research projects with them. Even your internship has got over. And like, again, keeping third and fourth years in mind, you should also try to get an internship in a good company, being as a data scientist or applied scientist or research engineer. So like, why am I saying to get an internship at a company or a well-established startup is because that will make your CV more much better as compared to doing in an infant stage startup whom really a lot of people don't know. So you should try to, like, in your mature years, you should try to get an internship in a well-established company. And like, yeah, the work expectations and experience, the work experience which you will get in an infant stage startup and a company or a well-established startup will be different, because like the goal of the company would be to work more on the research side and exploration side and improving their existing algorithms, whereas the startups will be more focusing on implementing them firsthand. So yeah, like, if you want to explore, then go for an infant stage startup. If you want to really build your resume just for the sake of interviews and jobs, then probably getting an internship in a good company is required.
That's pretty well summed up, Harsh. Like, especially for the current second years, it's a kind of really great answer. If you want to start in this field of machine learning and data science, and after the course, like in the previous answer, as Harsh mentioned, so followed by the course, this infant stage startup of internship opportunity is really a good kickstart for second years. So that's really well summed up, Harsh. Thank you. Moving on to the next question. So how can one prepare for on-campus and off-campus opportunities? So preparation strategies and preparation tips for the opportunities.
Okay, so like, this is going to be a little bit more lengthy answer. So yeah, because it is the most important one. So like, there are two stages of this. First of all, getting an interview call, and second is like, once you have an interview call, then start preparing for the interviews. So I'll first discuss about getting an interview call. Like, once you have got the interview call and you are preparing for the interviews, because that is same for off campus and on campus. So like, it's very simple than that. If you have already got an interview call, then just prepare for all the terminologies and concepts which are related to basic machine learning. Just for example, but not limited to, like, decision trees, clustering, KNN, random forest, bagging, boosting, bootstrapping, other things. So like, and also a few important concepts of deep learning, because like deep learning is getting more and more prevalent these days. So like gradient descent and calculating output of a model, if you are given the weights of the model, loss functions, like there are a lot of other things also, like momentum optimizers and other things, but like those are more intensive things. But you should always try to cover all the basics of the machine learning and deep learning if you have already got an interview call, so that because like mostly the interviewers will ask those things only. And secondly, you should be very well prepared about the resumes, about the projects which you have mentioned in your resume, because like initially the discussion always start with your resume. They will ask about the projects, and then they will dwell down to questions in general. So that is about if you have an opportunity, or if you have, you know, some interview call, then how to prepare for the interviews. However, like how to get an interview call. So for on campus, like we have CDC there. So just prepare well for the coding and machine learning concepts and give all the tests, because the more tests you give, the more experience you get, and there's more chance that you will clear the tests. So that is for the on-campus ones. But for the off-campus ones, you need a lot of patience. So because the conversion rate for off-campus opportunities is very less. I mean, you have to apply to a lot of places, and you know the reverts or the replies which you get back are very less. So like again, splitting the off-campus into two things: if you want to do an FT, or if you want to do an internship in a company. So if you want to do an FT, then prepare a mailing list which have all the information about the professors, such as like whom you want to work with, email ID, web page link of the professors, and some projects or publications which are inclined with your interests, and yeah, and a brief descriptions about those projects also, so that later you could use them in the mail. And then try to find out the name of professors whom your seniors have already worked with, or you know, who usually take interns. Because like if you know, like if you blindly try it, then it's very very difficult. So just try to get more and more references. Okay, like these are the professors who actively take interns, so that will make your process a bit more easier. And I mean, yeah. And if you want to do yeah, one more thing. So like if you are mailing to professors, then just don't make it, you know, very generic email, or don't just spam the mails. Just try to ensure that your mails are personal for the professors. For off campus, for company internships, I feel that the LinkedIn is the best tool. So just try to connect with the employees of the company in which you want to interns, and especially the data scientists, supply scientists, and the research engineers, so that you can connect with them and you can ask them for, you know, to refer you, because their reference will make more different as compared to an SDE referring you for a machine learning or data science role. So try to ensure that you are contacting the same person. And just one important thing is just try to be patient and believe in yourself that you will get some opportunity. It's not that you won't get. This process is pretty exhausting. So that's why I'm constantly saying this thing. So yeah, that's more or less it.
Yeah, like that has been a really detailed overview how to crack the process. And also you have explained the mailing process also really good. Like thanks a lot for the answer, Harsh. And advice for the second and third years, like here to be specific, to be second years and to be third year students, regarding how to start with ML or any general advice for the machine learning and data science profile.
I think that the advice would be to, like, the machine learning field is not like conceptual field. I mean, it is conceptual, but not entirely conceptual. So you have to cover a lot of breadth. So you have to cover a lot of topics, you know, to crack an interview. So just try to ensure that you consistently keep learning different things and consistently working on different fields. That way you would be able to, you know, crack the interviews in your final years, or you know, during the internships. And one generic advice, which I feel is important being in KGP, is don't, and especially if you are in the machine learning fields and you are doing projects with different professors, don't take a lot of commitments such that you end up doing nothing but just thinking about what are the things you have to do. Because like this happens with a lot of students in the campus, that they take up a lot of projects, interns, and other commitments, and then they are able to do nothing or nothing productive as in. So just make sure that you are not doing that. So yeah, thank you.
Thanks a lot for the valuable inputs, Harsh. So, like, thanks a lot for summing up the profile, like how to start and like how to crack the interviews, and also the advice has been really helpful for especially the to be second years and to be third years, and I feel. So, thanks a lot, Harsh. Now let's move on to the software development profile. So, Ishan, could you please give the brief introduction to the field of software development?
Yeah. As you all know, like software development field is a very wide field. So you can cover a lot of bases in this. Just to name a few, you can see like in web development, you have front end, you have back end, and like you can combine them both and you have a full stack field. Then uh, further moving forward for the database only, like you have database related fields. Then in some of the like user experience and like uh, within like the front end field, you have UI and UX teams. So in software development field, you can like have numerous options and like you can like it is hard to just tell you in some few words and like just to name a few fields, but having a broader view, just like everything that you develop, like wherever you are like making any software, right, or like any backend application, you can just uh you that will be your like SE field. So that would go for the this field. Yeah.
Yeah. So that has been like really nice and brief introduction to the field, Ishan. So moving to the next question. So how can a student start to explore the field? Like how to start literally from the scratch?
Yeah, so like as I told that there are like many fields, so like you have different way of learning in those directions. But just to at the start, like how I started was through hackathons. So like this is not stressed upon enough in our colleges, and like we don't see many uh teams participating in hackathons, but like that was my first like go to way to where I learned a lot of things. So I would say participate in hackathons. uh, am I audible?
Yeah, Ishan. Now we
Yeah.
are audible. For a while, there was a network interruption, I guess.
Thanks for confirming. So, as I was saying, like, you can always go for your self projects, which you can have some idea from GitHub also. Like, it doesn't need to be a unique idea, but you can work on any idea that you liked or you saw, but just like make on your own, just to understand like how it works. So that also works. Another major way that we learn through is our courses, basically. Maybe that being like algorithm course or software engineering courses. So like that is the way. And finally, like the major areas where you will have the industrial kind of experience, you can go for internships. And as even Harsh mentioned that like in startups you can explore a lot more. So in startups, the biggest advantage would be that you would be working on a lot more bases and you will be working in a lot more depth. So you can go for an internship and learn more about the field. And mostly, like in the startup, you will learn a lot. And on big companies, you might work on like smaller applications, but you will learn a lot about how it is connected and how all the parts work together. So like those are different ways of looking at it. But yeah, that sums up like how you can explore the field.
Yeah, got it. So now moving to the next question, Ishan. So what are the various on-campus and off-campus opportunities available in the field of software development?
So
Yeah.
oh, okay, sorry. So majority roles you can see they are labeled as like software engineering role or like software development roles only. And even like if going in depth, and you have also like some of the basically normal developer roles and like full stack roles which are kind of related to the web development side, but those can again be broken into like front end and back end field. And even there are some roles for database, and there are some roles for network, basically how like networking, like how different applications network together. So all these roles are there. So these on campus, you will majorly see them as directly like software engineering roles. But in off campus, you can explore a lot more in these fields, which I told you about, like even front end, back end, database related, or like UI UX. So you can see them, but like majorly, I have seen on campus, it is usually just a software development field.
Yeah. So that's quite pretty summed up about the on-campus and off-campus opportunities available in the software development role, Ishan. Now moving to the like how can one prepare for off-campus and on-campus opportunities? So how the preparation and the test. So what is the procedure for the recruitment and all?
So like this, I guess like everyone knows like for most of the fields that we cram about and like every junior must be talking about is like coding. Like for every position, like at first what you talk about is coding for sure. So that lies here too. So it doesn't depend, like mostly companies will be like taking you to the next step after the coding round. So it is very important to go through your like coding skills, and for those coding skills, you can prepare on many websites, follow different routines. You will have various articles, various YouTube videos upon them on how to brush up your coding skills or like how to start from scratch. And you can also like try to learn for the competitive coding part just to understand and be more like have an edge in the interviews. So mostly like this is one thing that mostly it won't mostly coding would be the most important thing in the interview. So that lies for on campus and off campus both parts. Moving next, then what happens is like companies might be going for like it is definitely better if you have some knowledge or some experience, and companies knows that, and even you know that. So for that, how can you prepare for them is like if you have some courses which are related to computer science domain. So those can be network, database management system, operating system, software engineering, Java, or like algorithm. So like these courses, if you have those play a big role, so you can opt for these courses as your if you are not in CS domain, then you can opt as additional or even a minor. Apart from that, apart from courses, you can work on your self projects. Again, that if that is there in your CV, then the recruiter can kind of feel that like you can relate to their project, and that will definitely play an edge over other competitors, or like basically other candidates which are sitting with you. And then further, like internships or having participated in hackathons. Basically, what matters the most in this field is that you have some kind of experience in that, so that you can relate to the software that the company have, and you can easily work on it. It definitely does not mean that if you do not have the knowledge, then it will play severely negatively for you that you won't be selected. But it does give an edge, and it will help you. So you can also, as I mentioned before, like how to prepare for these, basically like what all fields are there, and like how can you go for the projects. If you do that and they are reflected in your CV, then it will definitely help you a lot. But again, like as everyone else know, so coding is very important. So do like start coding and like work hard in that.
That has been like really pretty answer, Ishan. So now moving on to the last question. So your advice for second and third year students, the like to be second and to be third year students who are going to start with the software development role, or so to be second year students, mostly they will be exploring like their departments, just entering the departments. So your advice for them and also to the third year students.
Uh, I would say some things which I wish that some senior had told me in my second year. So, like, the very first thing is if you are in second year, please explore. Like, please feel free. Don't be worried. You have a lot of time. Just explore and like find out what you like. Like, sometimes I don't think like most people won't be knowing about the UI and UX field, and it is a very amazing field. I liked it. I might have not worked in it, but I definitely liked it. So you can explore that field, and you can explore many other fields. So feel free to roam around and spend your 1 year or like 1.5 year learning various different things and seeing what you like to work in the future. Don't just settle at the end in that hard race that like just like in that rat race that you have finally like you will be doing what your peers are doing. So don't go in that. Explore for yourself what you like. And secondly, for coding, I started coding very late in my journey, in my college journey. And I know that most of you will be facing that issue, that like most of you won't even be finding coding very nice. You would be like bored from it. You would find it difficult. You won't enjoy it. And some of you might be doing like working on competitive coding just out of treating it as a work. Don't do it. It won't be beneficial for you, and you might end up hating it, or you might just leave it. So that is not beneficial. Instead, play with it. Like have fun with it. Think of like what a beautiful answer it was, what a beautiful algorithm it was. You found a new way to think about it. Just treat it like another game for you, like chess, like Sudoku. Just play with it. And if you feel that it is not going very well, or like you are not still not enjoying it, have some groups with you. The best thing that happened to me while I was starting to code was having an amazing group of friends which were into coding, and it was so amazing for me that I could discuss openly. We would pass on our ideologies on and various methods and implementations, and it just used to be so fun. And I guess that is the one reason why I I got good in competitive coding, just because of my friends and not finding it boring. So I would say that if first of all, do explore all the fields. There is no harm. You are not late. You can definitely still explore it. Second, for coding, do have a great circle and treat it like a game. Enjoy it. don't find boredom in it. Okay, don't stress upon like if that is the only thing that is left to do, and like it is the most important thing. It is important, but do enjoy it, and it will be amazing for you. That's it
Uh,
from my side.
Yeah, like that has been great advice, Ishan. Like playing with the coach, like the line I really like. So the, even that's really good line. The good advice for second and third years is enjoy the work, whatever you are doing, and then you can give the best output. So every moment try to enjoy the work. And also, Ishan, like you mentioned the point of having the groups with which we can practice. So currently, like it's really sad on the part of the freshers. They haven't seen the campus yet. They haven't been on campus. So for this, like we are still trying to address this issue of peer learning or having the groups and practicing in groups and owning their skills.
Yeah, like definitely that you like for freshers it would be difficult, but on the
Yeah.
bright side, if you see it, it's also like good icebreaker or like a new fresh point. So you can just like go and like interact with people that, hey, do you want to start coding? And like even I feel like I want to do it, and you will have some amazing groups and amazing friendships out of it. So that can also act as a nice icebreaker for all of you, and it would be fun eventually.
Yeah. Thanks a lot for all the inputs, Ishan. So now let's move to the next profile, which is FMCG and supply chain. So yeah, Tanay, would you like to take the question, starting with a brief introduction of the field?
Yeah.
Tanay?
So, hi, am I audible?
Yes, Tanay, you're audible. Yeah, over to you.
So, so FMCG field is just consumer goods that are fast in terms of they sell quickly and you consume it. Fast moving consumer goods essentially. So the companies that do FMCG sell a wide variety of products like Ashirwad Atta or even like PepsiCo, you could consider one. And generally, the workflow involves a lot of supply chain cost maintenance and operations. So yeah, pretty much that, fast goods that you consume.
Yeah. So moving on to the next question, Tanay. So how can a student start to explore the field of FMCG?
So, so there are various ways in which you can start exploring FMCG. But my advice would be to not explore FMCG too much before CDC starts or any such process starts, because generally for the resume process of FMCG and the selection process for all the FMCG companies, it's more or less this want an overall all-round profile, which means you have to have extracurriculars, you have to have technical projects and a decent CG. So if you go after this meeting and you think that FMCG is something that you're interested in, I would recommend that you do not orient yourself in that in terms of getting startup interns in FMCG, but just get good brands on your resume. And good extracurricular brands as well on your resume, and once you have that, you'll find it easier to finally land a big company in the FMCG industry.
That's a brief answer. So moving to the next question, like what are the various on-campus and off-campus opportunities available in the field?
So essentially, there are some off-campus companies as well. Like you could try Marico, or you could try certain other companies like Henkel as well. But the companies that do come on campus, which are HUL, ITC, and PNG, are pretty much exhaustive in terms of the big FMCG companies that that are there in India. If you're not considering, say, healthcare companies or pharmaceutical companies in that category. So for the on-campus opportunity, then generally these companies take group discussions or video selections based on the resume that you have applied, and finally each one of them takes like 5-6 people to their internship opportunities.
Yeah. So that has been like the companies that you mentioned are also, I think, like these are quite insightful. So people might, so whoever are interested in this field, take a note of these also. Like these are surely going to help. Now moving to the next question. So how can one prepare for on-campus and off-campus opportunities? The preparation strategy and tips you can give to the attendees, Tanay.
So, for the people who might be sitting for CDC right now, I would surely suggest that you go through the company cultures and ethics that are available on their websites for the interview processes or the group discussions that might happen. And for the people who say want to get a head start and want to prepare beforehand in terms of like how to join these companies, I would again repeat that you should prepare like a pretty much all-round resume so that like essentially what these companies look for is people who can take up ownership and do projects alone, not necessarily be a part of the team, because all the internship patterns for most of these companies are such that they give a live project to an intern that is sort of working separately from different teams, and it is your responsibility then to deliver results that can be implemented by companies. So suppose I interned at ITC, and the project I did will probably be implemented there in the next 2-3 months. And if you see certain alums and all, the projects they implemented in various plants of ITC are still there in place and are saving ITC a lot of money. So in terms of like internship opportunities and what they look for interns is sort of different, because in those 2 months, they really want you to bring about a change. So they want people who can take up ownership and have sort of self-investment in what they are trying to do.
That is pretty personalized tip also. I guess like this will help many people who are starting the preparation for on-campus and off-campus internships, and for the CDC purpose, so people who are buckling up the last minute, brushing up last minute preparation, or just revising their preparation tips and all. And yeah, so moving to the last question, Tanay, so your advice for the second and third year students. So if someone is like to be second year students, how should they start exploring FMCG field?
So one advice would be to just search for like the top FMCG companies, go to their website, see what they do, what sort of career opportunities they offer, and start talking to seniors who have taken up FMCG companies. You should essentially look for this field for two reasons. Suppose you want to pursue something else in placements, but your preparation might not be sufficient in the interns. So you try to prepare for FMCG because it requires much lesser preparation, and then you try for the other field in your placements. Or if you want like a big brand for say certain like foreign degrees that you might want to apply, then all these companies get you those numbers because they have higher revenues and they have a higher business standpoint. So you can write that on your resume. But if those are things that you want, and if you want a career in FMCG, then you should go to their websites, check them out, because generally if you join this industry, the exit points become slightly harder than the other industries we have discussed. For me personally, like the induction program at ITC, most people who came to speak were like minimum 6 years in the company, or 13-14 years. So that's also something you should take into mind before you start full-fledged preparation just for FMCG.
That's really helpful advice, Tanay. Like, thanks a lot for answering all these questions and the personalized tips that you have given to the attendees of this session. Thank you, Tanay. And just before moving to the further finance profiles, one thing that I want to mention is, so we'll have a question answer session at the end. So keep your queries to the end. So we'll have all your queries answered at the end of the session. So moving to the finance profile. So Vikrant, so starting with a brief introduction of the field. So Vikrant, over to you.
Yeah, sure. Am I audible?
Yes, Vikrant, you're audible.
Yeah, sure. So let me just one thing. Finance has been a very, very exciting field for many years around, but I've been in the industry very actively for the past 5 months. And one thing which I would like to highlight is the Indian finance industry is at a cusp of a revolution right now in terms of everything. So one thing which is a very bright insight I'll give to you all is foreign funds, which are like billions and trillions of funds, which never actually looked at India till now, are looking very actively at even poor stocks so that they could get some exposure to India. So Indian finance industry is about to like explode in terms of hiring, in terms of revenues. So it is a very exciting industry going on right now, and finance is just not about stocks. So there are a number of things which come into finance as of today. So I've been interested in finance since my first year itself, and I always thought that out of the campus I'll be in a good job where I'll be trading equities. But I'm very far from it, and I've explored a lot of good options like derivative tradings, and right now what I'm doing is equity sales where I interact with institutional equity managers on a daily basis. So it's an industry which is very big and which is going to get bigger, but it's not everything about stocks. And there are multiple roles which from an IIT one could explore.
Yeah, like I think many of the attendees of this session could personally connect to this also, because I personally had many experiences where juniors have been messaging about equity and trading. So I personally saw like many juniors of this time, they are interested in the field of trading. Like who else, like who won't be interested in trading and all. So myself, I do like trading. So moving to the next question, Vikrant, how can a student start to explore the field of finance?
Yeah. So I'll tell you a little bit about how I actually started to explore the field and then go on how you can do it. So I started exploring the field from my first year itself. I was fortunate to be part of the business club cohort, and I got very good seniors from under whom guidance I could actually start entering the field of finance. For one good thing which you need to understand in finance is there are two types of knowledge which you could gain as a student in finance. One is the unorganized knowledge, and second is the organized knowledge. And I think both are equally important if you want to get a good role in finance. So I'll just define both in very short terms. So unorganized knowledge is something which you can gain on a daily basis. Okay. So just the best advice I've ever gotten from a senior in finance and which I am following daily, and I would advise you to follow as well, is to start reading up news. News is very important when you want to go into finance, because during an interview, it creates a very good conversation. And even without an interview, context, when you are interacting with someone in finance, current news is something which they are interested in, and if you have the knowledge about that, it could create a really good conversation for you. So unorganized knowledge is all about reading news or finance news on a daily basis, and you won't understand 100% of it, and this is the best part about it. So let's say you read up some new news article which is a happening thing in finance and you don't understand a bit, so you start googling up things, what are those exactly, and you reach to the very bottom of it, and that is one whole learning experience in itself. So this is something which everyone who is looking to get a role in finance should do. Just start reading up news. So your daily sources could be money control. Just download the app and it will give you around 40, 60 notifications a day, and just start reading up. Or there are some apps like investing.com and everything. So you can download these apps on, or even LinkedIn or Instagram standalone as a platform. So if you follow some good financial influencers, some news channels and their pages, you're going to gain a lot of knowledge. And again, the best part about is you're not going to get everything. You'll need to Google it, and when you read something on Investopedia, that is going to be a whole new learning experience for you. Coming on to the organized knowledge part. So here is when you start actually learning what's finance theory. So the best sources to start with, in my time, used to be very different. Currently, there are very good sources available. So highlighting a few of them, Zerodha Varsity is a very good set of modules which you could do. Second is CFA modules. So I'm a CFA level 1 passed out, and the CFA level 1 modules, you can just Google them online. You will find some PDFs, even of older versions. They are very helpful. You should read book 3 and book 5. So book 3 covers equity markets, fixed income, all in all in general, and book 5 is about portfolio management, derivatives, and alternative investments. So these two books are a very good start if you are looking to learn in finance, because they actually get you involved with the theory. And these will be a starting point which you'll look forward to, because once you start learning theory and actual, you will actually start relating to the news which you are reading on a daily basis on how things actually work in finance. So this is something which you should start. Just start following news every day and Googling stuff. That's the best way to learn and start finance in your first and second year.
That is really well detailed, and especially when you told about CFA level 1, I think it's a really good insights given. So moving to the next question, so what are the various on-campus and off-campus opportunities available in this field?
Yeah. So as I mentioned in the start, finance is not just equity trading and derivative trading. There are a lot of opportunities in and out throughout the industry, flows from one party to another. So this money can be done through equity markets, can be done through venture capital, private equity investments, insurance, and there are people in between who facilitate this transaction, who verify this transaction. So there are just a whole bunch of jobs available in finance if you're interested. And trust me, you don't know which one you are really interested in. So this is one thing which you need to learn, that it's not just equity trading, it's a lot more than that. Coming on to on-campus opportunities, so I think CDC offers a lot of good opportunities now, and in coming years, it's only going to increase from here, from what I'm seeing. So CDC roles are more or less the companies which come, they offer the back office roles of their international operations. So Nomura, Deutsche Bank, JP Morgan, these companies, what they do is they will put you up in their offices, and the work you will get is basically you will support the international teams in London and teams in Amsterdam who are actually trading, and you'll be working with traders from London and Amsterdam directly. And if you get a full-time role, there's always a chance to actually get promoted to a job in London and Amsterdam. So this is the on-campus route. For on-campus route, the hiring process is 50% random and 50% what we have tracked. So this is something which is being offered on campus through CDC, and the opportunities are just going to increase. I think last year we saw 3 to 4 new profiles come in both placements and internships, and this year also we are coming. And another growing field is in finance right now is quant. So again, quant has two types. One is the HFT only quant, which is your day one supreme high stipend companies, which typically hire CS, MNC, EC, high niners who have a great hold of prop stats and aptitude. So those are like they select from a very selected bunch of students. And the other side of quantitative finance is companies like Credit Suisse and JP Morgan who offer quant profiles, and their only criteria is you need to ace the test and you need to be interested in finance. So this is the on-campus part of the bit I went through last year. And off-campus, I think finance is more brighter off-campus because there are companies, small and big, who recruit off-campus and where you can get in, because in finance, teams just keep continuously hiring. I myself got my Alliance Bernstein internship off-campus. So off-campus, there are always a number of opportunities available, and the best source to get those opportunities is first LinkedIn. You need to, if you have a good connection circle, you'll get to know what kind of people are hiring for interns and full-time roles. And the second is just look up what past KGPNs or IITians have done internships or placements in. That is, I think, the best source which you can get off-campus opportunities from. If you know that a guy from KGP or any other IITian has done an internship or placement in some company, that's a 100% shot that those companies recruit. Shoot a mail to the HR, and almost a 90% chance you'll get an interview, and it's on from there. I got my third year internship with this strategy. So this is the off-campus strategy. Look up where people have gone before, and just shoot the emails. And the second is, in general, LinkedIn opportunities. You can get it and you cannot get it. So that's the thing of off-campus.
That is like really well summed up, Vikrant. So moving to the next question, so how one can prepare for these opportunities? So the preparation process and the type of questions which you face in tests and interviews.
Yeah, so I think this has been one of the most asked questions to me in the past 2 months. And so coming on, I'll start with CDC and on-campus opportunities. So on-campus opportunities can be broken down into two parts. One is the shortlisting procedure and the second is the interview. So it differs highly company-wise. And from what my experience of observing CDC for the past 3 years has been, it's 50% random and 50% which you can sort out. So in finance, one thing you need to learn is if a company gives you a test, you have to ace it. If like I've seen companies which don't even shortlist someone getting 9 out of 10 questions right in a test. They just seal it off from 10 out of 10. So that is one thing companies like, especially companies which offer quant roles and risk roles like Credit Suisse and JP Morgan, they are very selective in terms of test scores. So you need to like ace the test, and the test is usually your probability and statistics, your puzzles from heard on the street, and questions more or less revolving around mathematics, and sometimes they add an English section too. So this is how you can get a shortlist. But again, the shortlisting procedure has been very random in the recent years. You can't actually predict if you're going to get a shortlist. But one safe thing, which in my years used to be someone who has a GPA greater than 8 and have one good internship in finance. And good means basically brand value. So let's say someone who has interned in SBI Mutual Fund or HDFC Mutual Fund or a good name in finance, and he or she has a GPA greater than 8. So that gives you a very decent shot of getting shortlisted in the on-campus, and then you can go on for interviews. So this is more or less how you can get a CDC internship. But again, this year the scenario can be very different because the GPAs are higher and even the number of internships are higher. So this is something which you can do. And preparing for off-campus opportunity is very different because now in on-campus, companies do a very generic interview and shortlisting process. But when it comes to off-campus, they are very specific. Like they want someone in that particular role. So you have to pitch yourself as someone who is able to do that particular role. And if you are even one off for that, they won't even consider you. So they are very, very extensive about you having an experience. So having an experience is very important. I think this thing I'll cover in the next slide as to how you can get an experience as a second year or third year. But in an off-campus, you need to have experience and in general, a knowledge about stock markets. And whenever you have an off-campus interview, this is something which you should really do is just stalk the person in and out on LinkedIn. You need to know where he has done, where he has worked, where he or she has completed education or their LinkedIn post. This is important because this actually gets you to connect with an individual on a personal basis, and that really highlights your profile a bit. So, for example, during my interviews at Bernstein, I was interviewing with this guy from Hong Kong, and he actually wrote a book on how education can be improved in New Zealand. Again, a very off-topic book from his, but I just got to know that he wrote a book, and I read a summary of the book, and that was one of the very highlighting points in my interview with that guy. So this is something which you need to do. And off-campus interviews, you need to have, I think, it is being mentioned before, you need to have a lot of patience because the hit rate is low. And second, one interview to another, the time is big. And even if the interview goes good, there is a lot of time before you actually get to know if you are done or not. So patience is key for off-campus. And next is you need to be very selective in your targets and be very careful when you pitch yourself. You need to craft you as an individual pitch for that role. And that is the only way you're going to get into a good off-campus opportunity. Thank you.
Yeah, like moving on to the next question, your advice to the second and third years as you kept for this. So yeah, like go ahead with your advice for to be second years and to be third years.
Yeah. So as I've highlighted before, just start reading up news on a daily basis. This is the most helpful thing you're gonna do in finance. If you read up news, you get connected to individuals on a very personal basis, and that is one thing which you should really do. Coming on to how you can gain experience. So this is very important in finance. So how you can gain experience is get very consistent about the organized stuff. If you have a good hold on the organized stuff and you know how to relate it with your unorganized news knowledge, you're going to ace your interviews, which you're going to give for your second or third year pre-CDC internship, basically. And how to shortlist pre-CDC internship companies is, let's say you're very interested in stock markets and you know you have gained a lot of knowledge about stock markets. So simply start mailing HRs of asset management companies you find in India. So how you can get a good list of asset management companies in India? So first of all is a good list of mutual funds. So almost all mutual funds like to hire interns because they have projects in which they believe you can be a good asset. So almost every mutual fund and life insurance companies like to have interns on board during summers. So that is one option. Second is small asset managers. And a good list of small asset managers can be found on small case. On small case, go to the companies list. You'll get a whole new companies which are actually investing in finance, and you'll get a good list. And the third thing is the research side of finance, which again, I have explored a bit. So that is how new technologies are shifting in finance. So I explored machine learning in finance, predicting stuff. So this is something which you can also do. So this is my advice to you. Just once you have gained enough knowledge and you're confident enough, start making a list of asset managers and companies where you could intern in, where previous KGPMs have interned in, and start mailing them. The mailing hit rate is going to be low, but if you can find that one opportunity and if you get it, that's really going to help you as an individual when you're sitting for your finance and CDC interviews. And the best part about working in finance is you get connected to people. I think this is a single key thing which I would like to majorly highlight about finance is having connections with people is very important, because you don't know when an individual can give you a very good opportunity, and finance is a very fast moving world. So the best benefit you can get out of an internship is even in an internship, you come out getting connected with 4 good people. though those four good people are going to be an asset moving forward in your career. Because I see that on a daily basis that if you get connected to a person and they like you, that's a very good thing to have in future. So this is my advice to you: just start getting connected to people on LinkedIn and on internships, because people connections are the one biggest asset as a student and or as a professional you're going to have in finance, and besides the knowledge, of course. So that sums up the game for finance.
Thanks a lot for the brief insights, Vikrant. Like this has been a really great one, especially the tip of regularly reading the newspaper. So thanks a lot for that. So hope this will help many to be second years and third years. So thanks a lot for the deep insights, Vikrant.
Sure.
Moving to the next one, consulting profile. So Tiyasha, so would you start with a brief introduction of the field? Over to you, Tiyasha.
Sure. So I'll just give a very brief introduction of the field of consulting, right? So consulting is essentially problem solving. So in the different sectors, for example, when Tanay mentioned FMCG, or when Vikrant was talking about the finance sector, you try to solve different problems for the different companies, and you're hired by these different companies to solve these problems for them. And that is essentially what consulting is in layman's language.
Okay, so yeah, that has been really brief introduction of the field. So moving to the next question, Tiyasha, how can a student start to explore the field of consulting?
Alright, so I think for a second and third year especially, the way they can start exploring the field of consulting is by doing essentially three things, right? The first thing that they can do is essentially try to read up on different sectors, just to understand where their interests lie or what they want to do, right? The second thing would be to essentially focus in their academic career and see whether or not problem solving is something they enjoy. This can be through like different internships, this can be through different projects, etc. Right? And the third thing they can do is essentially try talking to people, both to the seniors as well as to like other people in their batchmates, and see if this extroverting thing or if like talking to these different people is something they really enjoy, in order to understand whether this field is something they will enjoy in the long term.
So moving to the next question, Tiyasha. So what are the various on-campus and off-campus internships or the opportunities available? So you can also tell about internships and placement of opportunities regarding the consulting profile.
Sure, right. So I think starting with the on-campus opportunities. So I think in internships only LEK comes in most cases, and for off-campus and internships, I think Accenture and some other companies also recruit for internships. For placements, I think McKinsey, Bain, BCG. In fact, Bain is also coming this year, and all three companies come. Apart from that, LEK comes, and then you have Arthur D. Little, and you have other like Parthanan and Accenture and EY, etc. for the off-campus profiles as well. So these are the different opportunities which are available.
So now is the crucial question, Tiyasha. How can one prepare for on-campus and off-campus opportunities? The preparation process, like the entire process, and the type of questions. And you can tell about your personal experience also here.
Right. So I'll tell you one thing. For consulting, the way you prepare is by doing essentially two things. The first thing you do is essentially know your CV very well, right? So you need to know essentially what you are doing. Hello, am I audible? Just one
Yes, Tiyasha,
second.
you're
There's some
audible.
lag here. Sorry, I didn't hear you. Am I audible?
Yes, Tiyasha, you're audible.
Hello, am I audible?
Yes, Tiyasha, you're audible.
I got disconnected. Hi, sorry. Am I audible now?
Yeah, you're audible.
Yeah, okay. So I'll start with the on-campus opportunities and how can one prepare for like essentially consulting, right? So the first thing that they need to do is essentially know their CV well. So by doing different internships in different fields, for example, I did an internship at Procter & Gamble before, I did at ISP, and in different areas, right? I decided to understand what were the kinds of problems that really interested me, and that helped me frame my story for like the HR rounds, and even for like framing my story as to why I want to do consulting, right? And the second preparation strategy is by doing like a number of cases. Right? So there are a lot of resources available online like Mitra, etc. But essentially doing mock interviews with people. Like I did more than 60, 70 cases before my interviews. I think that really builds your confidence and helps you prepare for these internships as well as placements.
That has been like really great insight, Tiyasha. So moving to the last one. So your advice to the second years and third years. So how to start or what to explore in the second and third years to land up a beautiful role at consulting profile.
Right. So I think my advice to third years would be three things, right? The first thing is essentially maintain their CV. So maintain their CV as in like focus on academics, maintain a good CGPA, do projects which have like good impact, and do internships as many as you can, right? But also do not skip out on like extracurriculars. So have like good extracurricular activities on your CV, or have like good positions of responsibility if possible, and have these peaks in your CV right from the beginning. Because building your CV at the end of the day becomes very difficult if you have not started right from the beginning. The second is to have explore as many things as possible. So do not think that I want to do consulting and that's why I'm going to prepare for this. Just like explore different opportunities and see where it takes you. And that essentially helps you build a story as to why you want to do consulting. And the third thing is essentially enjoy the preparation. Because enjoying the preparation means you'll probably have fun doing it.
So that has been like really pretty brief, and thanks for the insights, Tiyasha. So thanks a lot. So now we'll keep the session open for queries. So first of all, like we have collected queries from the Google form, which was circulated along with the post. Now the queries are open for all the panelists. So yeah, moving to the first one. So can you all tell about various courses that we can get in KGP and that helped you all to excel in the careers that you are currently pursuing? So firstly, Harsh, would you like to answer this question?
Yeah, sure. So I'll first start with the on-campus courses. So like there's a course on machine learning itself from the computer science. Apart from that, there's a data science, data analytics course also from the computer science itself. There's a course on image processing and advanced computer vision if you are into, the image and the computer vision things. And if you are into natural language processing, NLP, or the text side, then you have a course for natural language processing also. And if I talk about some of the very famous online courses, then the first is Andrew NG for ML1, and the second one is deep learning for AI. So that is a specialization course which have 5 courses or 5 different courses in that. So like the one which really helped me get along, so like how like the courses which really helped me was machine learning from our campus, because that includes very basic things and a lot of basic things. And the second one was the specialization course, which has 5 courses within that. So that helped me learn about the mathematics which is present in the machine learning and the deep learning, models which are there. So I would highly recommend to do that specialization course, and if possible, and for your transcript also, which is very much used, or which is very much seen when you are going for higher studies. So like for your transcript also, take courses which are present in the KHARAGPUR, even if you don't want to, even if you know, or even if you have already learned, just for the sake of having them in your transcript of college, you should opt for the courses like this if you want to do something like higher studies, or even if you want to pursue career in this area.
Yeah, that has been really great suggestion. Thanks a lot, Harsh, for that. So especially like importance of taking the courses in the college and reflection on the transcript, how valuable it is. Thanks a lot for explaining that. So moving on, like Ishan, so would you like to answer this question? I guess there is some network interruption with Ishan. So Tiyasha, would you like to take this question?
Yeah, right. So I think it's a very general question, right? What kind of courses you can take in KGP? I don't really think there's a one specific answer for anyone in this. However, I think you should take courses which essentially both help your CGPA as well as help you complete the degree. So for myself, I took like economics as well as micro courses to complete my minor as well as my micro apart from my major. And apart from that, I also took courses which I thought, like for example, probability and statistics, or like in general courses which I thought might help me gain a more complete understanding. But I think this again depends very much on the profile which people are taking, and there is no one specific course.
So, Tanay, would you like to take this question?
Yeah, so from an FMCG perspective, there are not really like any particular courses that you need to do, except for the core courses that you have if you are, say, in chemical or manufacturing. I would recommend that you take courses that sort of give you an overall perspective of things and other opportunities that exist and help you achieve a good CGPA as well.
Thanks, Tanay. And Vikrant, would you like to take this question? Moving to the next question. Internship is the question filled by one of the attendees. So, Tanay, would you like to take this question first? So, how to get the first internship?
Right. So my first internship that I did was in Deloitte's technical consultant role. So for that, I sort of got in touch with one of the HRs in Deloitte through LinkedIn, and they sort of put in my referral, and I got an internship. So I think Harsh said it earlier as well. LinkedIn is a very good platform for you to get either interns in startups or certain bigger companies as well. But if you want like a big brand name internship, then you would probably have to go through like connections either through alums or maybe your dad knows somebody, and that sort of becomes the best way to get like the best sort of internship that you can get.
Yeah, thanks for that answer, Tanay. And next question, it is for you, Harsh. So this is to Mr. Harsh Maheshwari. I wanted to know about the skills and the type of questions that are being asked in a coding plus PI round of Amazon, so ML profile. So how should I prepare for the same for my placement? So Harsh, would you like to take this question?
So, like, if you're talking about the placements, then for the Amazon, like the ML profile, so there are three ML profiles at Amazon itself. First is data scientist, second is research engineer, and third one being applied scientist. Giving in a like, and the sequence or the seniority level is also like that: data scientist lowest, and then research engineer, and then applied scientist. So, like, I'm experienced toward applied scientist. So, like, first of all, about the internship, because year second, third years are also there. So if you are doing for the internship, then if you get an interview call, then you will have one coding round and one machine learning round. The coding round is not, very coding intensive or, very out of the, out of the blue kind of level. I mean, they ask questions which are, solvable and which are doable, and which are not very standard, but yeah, you could definitely, you are able to do those kind of questions by yourself. So the coding bar is not very high for the ML profiles. Secondly, about the machine learning round, that machine learning round is pretty intensive round. I'm talking about the interview as of now. So like they start with your projects, and it's a lengthy round of 1.5 to 2 hours. They start with your projects, and then they ask about a lot of machine learning algorithms and out of the box machine learning algorithms. Okay, like how to do this, how to do that, like given some conditions, and then they ask a lot of details about the deep learning things also. So it's pretty detailed one. So I would say that you should prepare the basics of machine learning and deep learning, and because like those are the first things, and because like even the questions or the case which they ask in the ML are also based on those. And if I talk about the placement process or the interview rounds for the placements are pretty intensive. There are 7 to 8 rounds of interviews, which involves 2 rounds of coding and around 5 rounds of machine learning. So and leadership principles. So Amazon is very, like Amazon have some set of leadership principles, and they strictly follow that, and like every process at Amazon is around that around those leadership principles. So they ask you, like, give me an example where you have shown these kind of leadership principles. So one should definitely prepare for the leadership principles also. I mean, he or she should try to figure out, like, what are the instances in my life where I have shown such kind of leadership principles. And apart from that, machine learning and deep learning, again, I would say the same advice. I mean, definitely the interviewer has a very, very big ocean of questions. So he or she could ask anything. But like, to be safe, first of all, and the most important thing is to prepare for the basic machine learning and deep learning things. And there are a lot of GitHub repositories also, which have a lot of questionnaires available. So just type in, like, awesome GitHub repository for data scientist interview questions, and you will get a lot. So just try to, go through them, because like they also include a lot of tricky questions. And yeah, one thing which I forgot to mention earlier, and now, like, they also ask a lot of questions regarding the statistics and linear algebra, like principal component analysis, SVD, singular value decompositions, and other things. So you should definitely look up them also. And like the ML case study also involves applications for those. So yeah, just try to cover as much breadth as exists, and you are able to do that.
Yeah, thanks a lot for detailing it so well, Harsh. Like, thanks a lot for that. Like, now taking the question from the chat box. So, what type of work one needs to do in FMCG field? So, Tanay, would you like to take this question?
So essentially, there are various different sectors, like of most FMCG companies. So wherever they produce their goods and sort of deploy them to the retail stores, that's their plants, and that's located across India. So if you get sort of an internship or job placement in their plants, you might be required to make the plant more efficient by automating certain parts of it, introducing computer vision or different other machine learning techniques to reduce the manpower required in those plants and maintain compliance and other things. So one of my friends who interned in one of the plants in ITC, he was required to sort of automate their logging process so that it reduces error and increases their efficiency. So he had to do a full stack app development. I was an intern in their R&D facility, ITC's R&D facility, and my project essentially was to create a precise agriculture system which automatically gave farmers recommendations on what they had to do in their land. So as farmers are the raw material sources for these companies, they sort of want to improve agricultural practices. So a large amount of work is also done in AI and agriculture. But most of the people were required to do some sort of automation or digitization in the companies because the companies are quite old. Other parts of the project could be finding newer vendors to, get products that they need to make the final good that they sell, or newer logistical lines to get like better logistical supply chains to get spend lesser money in, say, trucking and other things. So that's essentially the kind of work you do in FMCG. It's essentially a whole supply chain in a company. You can be placed in different parts of the supply chain, and the end goal for most interns would just be to make the process more efficient and save them money.
Yeah, so thanks Tanay for detailed answer. So now, like, there are other questions that were filled through the Google form that we circulated along with the post also, and we are getting questions on the chat box. So we'll take two more questions. So Udesha is having a question. If I have my own back-tested trading strategies for short term, can I design it in such a way that it will reflect it as a project? So Vikrant, would you like to take this? So Vikrant, you're on mute. So would you like to take this question? Cool. So other question as well. Move to the next question on this. So the profile I want to pursue is software. So my branch being a non-circular branch, so it has proved to be a constraint. So how will I manage it? So Ishan, would you like to take this question about the software profile? So, or any other panelists would like to comment on this. So how will a non-circular branch, like will it be a true constraint for getting into the companies like IT sector or the corporates or the opportunities? So Harsh, would you like to take this?
Sure. I think Ishan. Okay. So like if okay. So like first of all, disclaimer: I'm not from non-circuitous branch, so I might not be sharing the same feeling here. But I have a lot of friends who are from non-circuitous branch, but have been able to get jobs. So I'll be sharing those experiences with you. I mean, what I have learned from them. So yeah, definitely, it's a constraint. Like non-circuitous branches, if we see, then yeah, it's a little bit difficult to get the jobs, or getting to the interviews, or the number of companies opening up for you would be less. But like I have been at KGP for past 5 years, and I have seen that a lot of companies which were earlier not opening up for non-circuitous branches have now starting to open for now. I mean non-circuitous branches also. So with the time, the companies are relaxing on those policy or those prejudices that only non-circuitous branches have good I mean, they would like to hire from the circuitous branches only. So yeah, like the opportunities are gradually increasing is first thing, and secondly, I mean, yeah, I mean, like we definitely know that the opportunities compared to circuitals are less, but then yeah, like you have to prove yourself better as compared to others, right? I mean, because I mean, that within the KGP, I myself felt that it doesn't make any difference being from a circuital or non-circuital, and that prejudice of doing or taking from that comes after day 5 of the placement. I mean, after day 5 of the placement, companies have that prejudices ki, okay, we'll take only from the software branch, or from the circuital branch, or I mean, they just directly hire the people who are from the circuital branch. But in the earlier days, it's not more of those constraints which you will have. So I will say that you should increase the bar for yourself. Okay, now my skills are at X, then it should be X plus 10. So yeah, I mean, just focus on your skills, and don't focus that you have less opportunities, and thinking about this thing. Just focus key. Like I can assure you that if you work well, then you will definitely get a good opportunity. So yeah.
That has been really great insight, Harsh, like giving the optimistic view and yeah, like working hard to achieving great things. So thanks for the beautiful insight, Harsh. That has been really good one. So like Tiyasha, here is a special question for you. Someone mentioned in the Google Forms. I'm moving to that question. So Tiyasha, the question for you. So why there are two companies in Tiyasha Mitra's bio?
All right. So essentially, I got like a placement offer from both the companies, and I decided to choose McKinsey. What would be the CGPA cutoff? So there is essentially no CGPA cutoff per se. They don't really release a CGPA cutoff in most cases. However, like they prefer people with the higher CGPA in general. And I have no idea about the third part. I did not know anything about the circuital department or CGPA of theirs. So I don't really know that part.
Thanks a lot for answering this, Tiyasha. So currently, like Tiyasha, she got the offers from two companies and she's working with McKinsey. So thanks a lot, panelists, for being here with us today and providing such a great insights for all the attendees. So thanks a lot for taking time out of your busy schedule and for being here. And also, I thank all the attendees. I hope you have gained great insights from this session. And we have got many other queries from the attendees as well. Due to time restraint, we are unable to answer all the queries today itself. So what we are planning to do is the other queries which are not answered in the session, be the queries received through Google Form or the some queries that aren't answered in the chat. So we'll try to get those answered by the panelists, and we'll load the answers like in a couple of days. So we'll float the answers through the Facebook page. So like either from my account, or we'll put it in the Teams group, like which is being created for this session. So we'll float the answers in the Teams group, and also through the Facebook account too. So stay tuned. You'll get the answers for all the questions. Like there are some questions that aren't answered. So, and also one major thing that I want to address at the end of this session is the online, being at the online semester, the interactions which we used to have, the senior junior bonding, the funda transfer, all maybe like the seniors used to guide us in everything. So that is one part and is the major missing due to this online semester. So I thank you, Harsh, Tanay, Vikrant, Ishan, and Tiyasha for taking your time. So attendees, you can reach out to the seniors in case of any guidance you want from them. So like they will be happy to help, and this is the culture of KGP, and the best part of KGP life is the senior junior bonding. So you can feel free to ping the seniors and also keep the interaction among yourselves. So this is the best part to keep it going during this unprecedented times. So all of you stay safe and also get vaccinated as soon as possible. So thank you all. So we can call it off a day here. Thanks a lot for everyone. Yeah. Thank you, Harsh.
Thank you.